Hello everyone, my name is Dorian and welcome to another track guide with the F3. We are at Sebring and this is a fantastic combo. I don't usually like Sebring, but this car works really well here. I've taken the Sebring baseline setup and it took me about 3 hours, but I've made a few tweaks and the car feels much better for me here now. The setup is going to be in my Discord, link in the description below. If you do enjoy it, if you do appreciate this sort of stuff, please leave a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments what you think, and yeah, Discord as well. I'm just going to show you guys the lap real quick, and then we're going to go over it corner by corner. That's it. See you on the track. Okay, so we're coming up to turn number 1. Let's look for a turn-in point, because you don't really brake here. If we look further back, you see there's a braking point for the bollards here, the barrier. Right around here is where there's a braking point. It changes direction. That's your turn-in point. So right as I reach it, which is, I don't know, right around here, this is the braking point. I'm going to start turning just before that. And look at my wheel input. This is very important. I'm staying flat out in 6th gear and I'm giving it just a tiny bit of wheel input. And I'm constantly making micro corrections because I'm looking for the apex. Right now, I'm already going to lift and move it into trail braking. So I'm going to start lifting, let's say right before the white line here. Yeah, right before it, big lift, a little bit of trail braking. Don't really need to brake here. And as soon as I kind of get the car into the apex, by the way, is the cone here. I'm already going to go back to the throttle just a little bit, still tiny bit of trail braking to make sure I'm as tight and as close to the wall as possible. And I'm back on the throttle very aggressively. 80-90%, and then all the way back to 100. Look at the speed I'm carrying, the minimum speed, 209 on the exit. That's sort of where you want to be. If you're, let's say, 5-7 kilometers an hour lower than that, maybe consider using 5th. But it really depends on the track conditions. With the setup, it's actually pretty easy to do once the tires get warmed up, so it's not a problem. Now, let's look for a braking point here, right before the 2. Again, I'm in 6th gear, so I'm going to brake pretty hard, around 70%. Downshifting all the way into 3rd gear. And I'm not going to try to turn into too early here. It's a very, very late apex. So I'm trail braking for a long period of time. And I'm looking for this point right here. This is my apex. The corner is bumpy, so the car will have a tendency to go wide. You need to trail brake for a while here to make sure your front end grips. Just try not to scrub too much speed. Already back on the throttle before the apex, because I'm trying to get away from it. So I push the car too close into the apex. So the throttle just helps me push it away from it a little bit. and I'm getting nice, good exit speed. Already back to 100% at this point. Try to avoid this curb. I didn't really do a good job at that, but wasn't too bad. Had to lift a little bit. And I'm staying in third gear here. I'm not downshifting into second. Very tempting to do that, but try not to. You'll carry way better minimum speed if you keep it in third. Very short dab of the brakes, around 35%. Moving it into trail braking for a short period of time, and then I'm going neutral. The car is neutral right now. The reason being, the car has a tendency to over-rotate here if you stay on the brakes for too long or too heavy. And you also want to try to carry the speed. So being as neutral as you can, the trail brake is very soft, very gentle. Pretty much a neutral car at this point. And again, I'm looking for a very late apex. This is my apex where it breaks off right here. So I'm going to start going back to the throttle right as I reach it. Right around here. And I'm pretty aggressive. Again, 70% pretty much off the bat. And 100% as I open up the wheel and I can see the exit. You cannot mount this part of the curb. The car will get beached. You can mount the second part where it's flat, but you don't really reach it that much. Now here I'm just gonna stick to the inside the whole way through. Nothing special, taking a nice short route and reaching a very crucial braking point. Very easy to gain and lose 2 or 3 tenths here by modulating the brake. And I'll tell you what I mean. I'm gonna brake right before the 3 cone. And you can actually try to brake later than that and you can still make it through the corner. But I'm doing it for a reason. I'm trying not to overheat the front tires as I'm braking into this corner. So you'll see very high peak and immediate release. I'm releasing it to around 50%. Releasing it more. Now I'm going back to it a little bit more because I'm seeing I'm carrying a little bit too much speed. And I'm trying not to overheat the front tires. So if you have to brake hard here, and you do it for a very short period of time and immediately release it so you won't overheat the fronts, because the turn in here is pretty much everything. It's going to dictate a lot of speed on the exit. Now, right after the curb starts, let's say 2 or 3 meters, I'm going to start turning in second gear. And as I do it, I'm going to release the brake and the car will be completely neutral at this point. Again, I'm trying to avoid overheating the front tires, so as little brake as I can, flipping the apex very nicely, putting pretty much a wheel on the grass here, and it's fine. And I'm going to go back to the throttle quite aggressively, 50% at first, and then I'm slamming back to 100%. This is not really a corner, it's just your exit line. Don't even worry about it. You can put a wheel on the grass there, it's not a big deal. And that's it. I'm just going to take a nice short route here, hug the curbs, and set myself up to the left for the next braking point. Now it's going to be right after the 3, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so right here, a little bit, let's say 2, 3, 4 meters after the 3. Great, again, peaking for a short period of time, relatively speaking, and then I'm going to start releasing it. Third gear here, don't try to use second, you're going to lose a lot of time. Not turning in too early. I'm just trying to stick to the racing line here. The turn-in point is actually, I think, right before the 1 cone. Yeah, so right around here is where I'm going to start turning. There's a white line and a cone there. Very easy to spot. Trail braking all the way into it. Trying to maintain grip in the front. It does have a tendency to understeer here and oversteer on the exit. I think I've done a decent job to kind of mitigate that with the setup. Now, right on the apex is where I'm going to go back to the throttle. 70%, don't be too aggressive here. It does want to kick out. And as I straighten out the wheel, I'm back at 100%. Now, keep in mind that you want to take a tight line here, but don't do what I just did and clip that inside curb. It didn't cause too much trouble for me, but sometimes it can really upset the car and you lose a lot of time or maybe even spin the car around. Now, a lot of people have a tendency to go all the way to the left here to kind of get a straight braking line. It's actually not necessary. There's so much grip going diagonally here. You don't really need to get the car all the way to the left or before you start braking. So I am braking diagonally. The initial part of my braking is around here. So right before the 2 cone, let's say 10, 15 meters before that. And braking almost in a straight line. So I'm braking diagonally. As you can see, my wheel is pretty straight here. And I'm gonna start releasing it again. Third gear, I'm gonna start releasing it and turning in after the one cone. Just downshifted into third, and I'm gonna go back to the throttle very early here. There's a lot of camber on the road on the exit, and the car has a tendency to just stick and actually get a little bit of rotation because of some tweaks I made to the diff, so it reacts really nicely here. A little bit of neutrality, and way before the apex, which is right around here, I'm already back through the throttle, 60%. Went past the apex, 100%. Being very neutral here, very gradual, not neutral, very gradual with my throttle implementation. Using the curb on the way out, even if you clip the grass or the dirt here a little bit, not a big deal, but try not to. And simple stuff, taking a nice short route, clipping the first apex, the second one as well, lining the car up to the left here, and I'm gonna brake right at the 2 or slightly before the 2 even. Braking 50%, into 5th, into 4th, very early, trying to downshift as soon as I can. And I'm using the curb on the inside to rotate the car nicely. Everything in this complex is dictated by the first corner here. So the speed that you carry here, how much you're going to burn up the tires, really going to affect the left-hander and the right-hander following. Keep that in mind. So you want to be as smooth as you can here. Use the curb to rotate you so you don't have to use a lot of steering. Back to 100% here for a short period of time. As I approach this apex, I'm going to lift again, because I want to take a nice short route to the left here. I want to stay on the left. I'm going to go about a car or even two car widths to the left here. I'd say a car width to the left, beyond the white line here. And dab of the brakes, just putting a little bit of pressure on the fronts. I'm going to stay in 4th gear throughout this entire sector, by the way. And neutral on the way in, and throttle on the way out, way before the apex. I can see I got a lot of turn in fact a little bit too much. So I clipped this curb, which you want to do, but I think that was a bit too much. I went all the way after the curb to the right there, and that kind of upset the car a little bit, gave me a little bit of understeer with that hop on the exit. And I kind of clipped the grass here. It didn't cost me too much time, I think, but potentially you can do it a little bit cleaner and a little bit faster as well. Let's look for a braking point here. I'm gonna go as wide as I can on the entry. Gonna start turning in right before the 2 cone or right at the 2 cone. And very little input, still flat out. Look at how much input I'm giving it. I'm not trying to turn the wheel too hard. And right before the color changes here, I think we're going from asphalt to concrete. I'm gonna start applying a little bit of brakes from 6th into 4th, and I'm gonna stay in 4th the whole way through here. Going past to the left of this white line to maximize my approach for the apex. I'm trying to carry as much speed as I can. This is all about minimum speed. But I'm getting tons of rotation here. I'm actually sliding the car. And I'm gonna let go of the brakes because of it and go back to the throttle. Right around here. And this is my apex. There is a bump here, but this setup can cope with it really well, so I'm not even worried about it. And past the apex, I'm pretty much at 100%. Taking it all the way to the outside, opening up the wheel as much as I can to make sure I don't just scrub the tires. And that will give us a 152.335. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think, and hop over to my Discord as well. Have a great day. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.